Good day, Masinloc. Good day to our active learners from grade 7. Welcome to On-Air class. This is your on-air teacher for today, Teacher Kurt Cesar de Padua from Bamban National High School, always at the service for the Filipino learners. I will be here for you at this moment to increase your knowledge as you will learn today's lesson. Make sure that you are all in your comfortable seats and properly listening to our broadcast. At this moment, please get your guided learning activity kit entitled Different Types of Charging Process. You can also get your notebook and pen to take down notes about the lesson that I am going to discuss. We will use the guided learning activity kit as a reference to our lesson written by our brilliant and hardworking science teacher, Sheila E. Mendoza. This guided learning activity kit will take you to the journey of different types of charging process. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to first, describe electric charges. 2. Explain the law of conservation of charge and electrostatic law. And 3. Describe the different types of charging process. Electricity commences with humans' inquisitiveness for the unusual ability of amber and lodestone to attract other materials. Electricity is a fundamental property of matter. The term is commonly applied also to electrical charge, to electrical energy, and to electrical power. Electrical energy, the most versatile form of energy available, is used for lighting, communicating, heating, cooling, operating machinery, producing chemical changes, and many more. Despite the familiar existence of electricity, many people do not know that it originates from motion charges. In this guided learning activity kit, the learners will describe the different types of charging process. This will also enable them to understand further the law of conservation of charge and electrostatic law. In our previous discussion, we learned about convection, conduction, and radiation. Let's recall. Convection is the transfer of internal energy into or out of an object by the physical movement of a surrounding fluid that transfers the internal energy along with its mass. An example of convection is a boiling water. When water boils, the heat passes from the burner into the pot, heating the water at the bottom. This hot water rises and cooler water moves down to replace it, causing a circular motion. Conduction refers to the transfer through stationary matter by physical contact. An example of conduction is you can warm your back muscles with a heating pad. As the pad heats up, it transfers heat to the part of your body that is in contact with. Radiation. Radiation is energy that comes from a source and travels through space and may be able to penetrate various materials. The example of radiation is the ultraviolet light from the sun. Now, let's discuss the electric charger. As early as 600 BC, the Greeks are aware that amber, when vigorously rubbed with a piece of cloth, can attract nearby objects. Later in 1600, William Gilbert found out that many other substances, when rubbed against another substances, had the same ability. He called these substances electrics, which becomes the Greek word electron, meaning amber. Later, it was shown that many objects, when rubbed against another object, has the same ability to attract a small of matter. The object then is said to be electrified or acquired a charge. What is electric charges? Electric charge is a basic property of matter carried by some elementary particles that governs how the particles affected by an electric or magnetic field. Electric charge, which can be positive or negative, occurs in discrete natural units and is neither created nor destroyed. In Figure 1a, it shows that suppose to rub two rods against the fur and suspended one of the rods at its center on a string. Placing the second rod near the suspended rod will cause the suspended rod to move away. Since the two rubber rods were similarly charged, this shows that like charges repel each other. The procedure is repeated using two glass rods and silk. In B, the glass rod also repel each other. But when the charged glass rods are brought near the suspended rubber rod C, both attract each other. Obviously, the charge on the rubber rod is different from that of the glass rod. Thus, you can say that unlike charges attract. There are two types of charges. These are the positive and the negative charges. Positive charge is the charge of the materials when it loses electron. Negative charge is the charge of the materials when it gains electron. When two different objects are rubbed against each other, the electrons will transfer from one object to the other. No electron is destroyed or created during the process. One object acquires a positive charge and the other acquires an equal but negative charge. Mathematically, it is stated that the sum of the positive and negative charges during the rubbing process is zero. The statement is called the law of conservation of charge. What is the law of conservation of charge? Charges cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be transferred from one material to another. The total charge in a system must remain constant. What about electrostatic law? Electrostatic law states that like charges repel and unlike charge attract. Now, let's talk about process of charging. Charging an object involves the addition or removal of electrons. There are three ways by which a neutral body may be charged. What are these three? These are: number 1, charging by friction; number 2, charging by conduction; number 3, charging by induction. What is charging by friction? Charging by friction is when two different materials are rubbed together. Which one will become positively charged and which one become negatively charged? Charging by friction is the transfer of electron from one uncharged object to another by rubbing the two objects together. Scientists come up with a ranking of some common material based on their ability to hold or give up electrons. The ranking is called triboelectric series. In general, when two different materials are rubbed together, the one that is higher in the list will lose electron easily and become positively charged. For example, rubbing fur with rubber makes the fur positive and the rubber negative. These are the examples of triboelectric series. What about charging by conduction? Conduction is a process of charging by contact. It occurs between the neutral body and charged body. Whenever neutral body is charged by conduction, the charge produced is the same as that of a charging body. A neutral body becomes positively charged body. Similarly, a neutral body becomes negatively charged when charged by a negatively charged body. At this moment, I want you to watch a short video regarding charging by conduction.
Today I'm going to show you a fun little static electricity experiment, and all we've got are some little bits of paper. They've come out of a hole punch, those little circles of paper, and we've got a comb. So what we want to do now is comb that comb through my hair. Okay, there we go. Just combing the comb through my hair. Let's see what happens when we put it near the bits of paper. Woohoo! They all start jumping around and attach themselves to the comb. Okay, so there we go. The static electricity built up on the comb attracts the bits of paper.
A plastic comb rubbed with the hair acquires negative charge. When brought about near small pieces of paper, the comb repels free electrons in the paper. The surface of the paper near the comb is negatively charged, thus attracted by the comb. What about charging by induction? Induction is a process that does not involve contact between the neutral body and the charging body. The neutral body is brought very close to the charging body. In induction, the acquired charge is opposite that of the charging body. In charging by induction, the body that is charged, neutral body, has the opposite charge as the body that is used for charging. For us to understand fully about charging by friction, conduction, and induction, these are 5 situations, and I identify and explain what type of charges is applied. Clothes rubbing together in a dryer. It's friction. Because when the clothes move around in the dryer, they rub together and against the metal inside of the dryer. When this happens, electrons move from one object to the other, and some of the clothing becomes negatively charged and other pieces are positively charged. Ironing a piece of clothing. It's conduction, because the iron and a piece of cloth is in contact with each other. So, there is conduction between them. Energy transformation while ironing clothes take out their wrinkles and make them smooth. This takes the heat, which is one type of energy. In the iron, electrical energy is used, and it is transformed into the heat energy. Charging smartphones. Induction. Because the transfer of energy from one object to another, so by placing the phone on dock charge, transfer from dock to phone. When a polythene rod is rubbed with a duster, it's friction. Because when a polythene rod is rubbed with a duster, the friction causes electrons to gain energy. Electrons gain enough energy to leave the atom and rub off onto the polythene rod. The polythene rod has gained electron, giving it a negative charge, and the duster has lost electron, giving it a positive charge. When a metal spoon leaves in a pot with boiling water, and the metal spoon becomes hot also, it's conduction. Because we find that the temperature of a spoon rises and becomes hot. The heat in the boiling water has been transferred to spoon, which is placed in the pot. Heat moves from boiling water to the cold spoon. So, that is how you identify different types of charging process. I hope you will identify friction, conduction, and induction in your daily activities. If you have questions, just message your science teachers. I am sure they could help you. I know you can do it, learners. Let us help each other to make this new normal education successful. Once again, this is your on-air teacher, Teacher Kurt Cesar de Padua of Bamban National High School. Thank you, listeners. Have a good day.